All right, welcome to another episode of GlideChat. Today with me, I have Buddy Hanrahan, the CIO of Department of Livestock in Montana. Buddy, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Michael. It's great to meet you.
Yeah, you
Thank
as
you.
well.
Yeah, thank you for having me
Yeah,
on.
this is great. And first, Buddy, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? You know, how you got into your position. I know a lot of people strive to get to that CIO role, so love to hear about your background and a little bit how you got here today.
Sure, I appreciate the opportunity. Kind of stepping back a little bit, left high school and joined the military right away. Spent 20 years most working mostly heavy aircraft B-52s as electronic warfare. Electronics related. There was a lot of computer involvement in that.
Mm-hmm.
Came out of the military, started an IT business, then moved that to Montana after I
Nice,
retired from the military and back
nice,
to home. I was born and raised here. Then I turned found a great job with the state. Ended up
nice.
working entry level. It was a help desk job. I love helping people. I love
Yeah,
being one on one, making those calls, getting those calls.
yeah,
That quickly turned to supervision, and
yeah.
have been striving to work myself into a CIO position. The Department of Livestock position came open, and I was selected
That's
and
unbelievable.
walked into, hey, we need to do things better,
Yeah,
and here's some money to do it with. So we started this project, and
that's unbelievable.
I think we're making really good progress with this. So
That's
excited
unbelievable.
to chat it up.
Yeah, no, and it's funny. I did help desk for 5 years, so I definitely know the ups and downs of help desk. I was actually just presented to a group of students that are about to intern into new help desk positions. There's a lot of repetitiveness of answering that phone, and sometimes some upset customers there, but there's so much gratification of when you're solving someone's problem, right? And like just that immediate gratification of just rapid fire problem solving, right?
Yeah.
That I loved about help desk.
Yep, first call complete. When we started
Yeah,
tracking that,
yeah,
we walked. I walked into a situation where they weren't really tracking anything that they did, and we
yep,
started doing that, and they're like, "Really, you're completing 85% of the help
yeah,
desk calls on the first call?" Like, "Yep."
yeah, yep.
So
It's unbelievable when you start slicing and dicing the numbers too.
for sure, for sure.
And it's so easy to track. You just kind of have to put that flag in there just to track it, right?
Yep, yep.
um, that's awesome. So you got some money to do a project, and I assume that project involves ServiceNow.
It does involve
Yeah,
service now. Yeah,
yeah,
we entered into a project trying to kind of modernize how we're doing brand inspection, brand enforcement in the
yeah,
state of Montana. So that includes drawing and registering of all the brands. That was the baseline of this to get those brands in the system. And then taking that and putting the inspection portion on the backside of it. So, most people have seen Yellowstone. I
yeah. I
can
was just
tell
thinking
you,
that. It's
I can,
funny as you're saying this. I'm like, oh, they brand the,
yeah,
the people.
yeah, I can tell
uh,
you for sure it's absolutely nothing like the show. There's
okay,
very
okay,
few
good,
similarities. We do not,
good.
our investigators do
Yeah,
not carry ARs.
okay,
Uh,
good.
they are armed. They are law
Yeah,
enforcement, but they
yeah.
don't carry ARs.
Okay.
Um, but no, we decided that we've used paper long enough. It's time to get to a
Yeah,
process that's done that can be done electronically. We're working that into this with the mobile app, and it's also on the ServiceNow platform.
that's awesome.
And taking that and giving them that capability is game changing.
Yeah,
Moving from a backlog of paper because we have 13 or more investigators in the state, but we have
yeah,
several hundred deputy inspectors.
yep,
So those are just common people that are trained and authorized to inspect cattle, and they do it on paper and they send it in, and we're taking all of that stuff and getting it to where they can do it electronically and make it more real time, which helps us with the law enforcement aspect, the health aspect. There's just, it's kind of landmark. I've used that term with the team, and
Yeah.
the team's like, well, yeah, that kind of makes sense. This is a landmark
Initiative.
application
Yeah.
initiative. Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is, because it's not just benchmark. We're not taking something and that
No, no,
already really exists and make it
no
better.
one's
We're
done it.
doing this from scratch.
Yeah, that's
So
amazing. So
yeah.
just take a step back, like the
Sure.
regulations for, and we don't have to, I don't want to go too far down that path, but like basically every cattle in the state of Montana has to be registered with the state and branded. Is that like the requirement, or what are they inspecting? What is it that they're tracking with ServiceNow?
I'm not the total expert on that
Yeah.
one, but um, we do have
Me
a
neither.
brand. We have a brand administrator that
Okay.
is his job.
Yeah.
But yeah, the law requires that if you have a brand in the state of Montana, it has to
Yep.
be registered and purchased. Basically,
Okay.
we do conflict checks on those to make sure that the brands on the cattle in this county don't conflict with the brands on the cattle in
Okay.
that
Okay. Okay.
county.
Yep.
And the families have several. Usually, families have several brands. So the livestock are branded, and the brands are separated by species.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, okay,
So
I didn't know that.
horse brand, you can have the same brand on a horse as you can
Yep.
on a cow. We register them by position. So
Wow.
where they're located on the animal. It's actually a fairly complex list, and
Yeah.
you could verify that with your team, but it's a
Yeah.
fairly complex list of things that have to
Wow.
take place so that you know whose brand is whose.
Yeah.
Not all livestock are required to be branded. There are rules for that, which ones have to, which ones don't have to. Montana is unique that they have per capita.
Yep.
So that's, the owners of the livestock pay annually based on how many they own at a certain time of year.
Okay. So it's for tax implications as well. So,
Yep.
wow. So you guys are managing this whole entire process in service now, going from paper to digital. What do you see it going in the future? Because I'm sure you always wanted to keep improving how you're
Absolutely.
using it. So what's kind of next on the roadmap?
So this whole digital process, once we have that data, we're working trying to get that data integrated with our animal health portions. So import and export requires a veterinary certificate in and out of the state of Montana. That's one of our requirements.
Yep.
That's a safety, animal health and human safety, because there are some diseases that are transmutable. So it's kind of the first step in a very much larger picture.
Yeah.
When you're working with paper, there's that delay of how long does it take for the paper to get mailed in, then put into a system to track it. If we do that, some things we do, most things we do,
Yep.
but there's
Yep.
some that we don't. We're bringing them into this new from paper, so it makes things a lot faster. And I think what's really going to happen is we're going to be able to really have a good picture of what we actually do in Montana.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think right now they have a good idea, but it's going to be very specific and very quick. We'll be able to see what's going on. It'll help with, the animal health thing really is where we're leaning after the law enforcement, the brand enforcement portion.
That's amazing because and that almost like full circle back to like your help desk days, right? Of like, if we're not tracking it, if we're not reporting on it, how do we know exactly what's going on? Instead of counting pieces of paper, let's put it all, let's digitize it, put it all in a system, and then we can run nice, clean, easy reports to actually track and see, what's going on, right? Inventory, and I love that. I just love the fact, I love to see these unique cases where ServiceNow doesn't have an app built out of the box for this, right? Obviously, some personalization, some development had to happen to build this, and for you to be brave enough to say, yes, ServiceNow is that application. Development can happen in a nice, clean way, which was a market. You're a market leader, right? I haven't heard of any other states using ServiceNow to do this, so this is pretty exciting.
Right. Yeah, we are leading the way on this. We're hoping that a few states follow through. The knowledge presentation this year is going to be huge. I think
Yep.
they're going to be some realizations made there of what can actually happen with this.
Can't wait to see
Yeah,
that. I can't wait to see that. Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
I've seen the slides for it, the slide deck for it, and had a little input with that. I unfortunately do not get to make it to knowledge. There have a conflict in the internally, and I just manpower wise, I can't get out. So
Uh,
yeah, but we're
oh,
sending
we'll
good,
record it
sending
for
good.
you.
Yep,
We'll
and we're
record it
sending good
for
people. We're sending
you.
good people.
No,
So
that's great. And so obviously GlideFast was a big part of implementing this with you. What did you like working about with GlideFast, or would you work with us again? I guess just for maybe some advice for other customers out there.
sure.
Working with us.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And this has been great to try and take something that, like I said, was never done this way. We do have a program that we currently use. It's just not anything that can be done mobily. It's not, the data extraction from it is incredibly difficult. And it's also end of life. So we really didn't have a choice. We had to move to something else. And we picked this platform partially because the extended cost is going to be a little less, since we are a ServiceNow state. We have the platform to work on. And will I work with GlideFast again? I'm sure I will, because I really love this team. We've lost some great people on the team, and I still communicate with them as well, because it's just family. They
Yeah,
really become part of the family. I talk to the PM every single day. There's
yeah.
not a day that goes by I don't talk to him. So
That's great. I love to hear that. And yeah, like I mean, that's what we strive for, right? We become part of your team, part of your family, and it's like a war in a lot of ways, right? It's a battle where we're trying to figure out all the data. We're trying to, get people on board with the change that's happening and get people excited about it, and obviously make it the best experience and the interface, and so there's always a lot of moving pieces to the puzzle. I know we only have a few minutes here left. Buddy, what's some advice maybe you could give some of our other people striving to get to that next level? Maybe some people in the help desk world trying to, because a lot of people, man, I'll tell you, would look up to you and say, wow, you went from help desk to CIO. That's a story you don't hear too often. So I'd love to get some advice from you for other people trying to get to that next level.
I appreciate that. So for me, it's got to be communicate, and that in state government can be a challenge. I'll be honest. There's a lot of moving pieces in state government. We have 30 plus departments to try and work around with each other and get to get to the right answer at the right time. Does it involve more than one agency? Can we make something work across the board? In the case of working with GlideFast to do something for brand enforcement, not a whole lot of interaction with other agencies. There is a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
revenue gets involved with the per capita, so there is some data sharing that's going to happen there that'll make life a lot easier for everybody. But communicate with each other, talk about your problems, get them down. You kind of have to plan from your level. So in my limited experience, I've been doing this for 2.5 years. But in that amount of time, I've learned that I really need to have my goals and objectives square and know where I want to go. But then I need to communicate that up the chain and say, okay, these are the things that I'm looking at, and get the other departments to do the same, so that we know what they're looking at. And we're
Yep.
finding that 35 to 50% of what we're doing, somebody else is doing something similar.
Yep.
Uh, Permits, we start talking about, well, we
Yeah.
need to start integrating permits. Well, I have 3 or 4 other organizations that do permits.
Yeah.
So, hey, let's
Let's
group.
bring them on board and do it one time instead
Yeah,
of doing it
absolutely.
once here and then once there, and then
Absolutely.
and then having different processes as well.
Yep, and it's good for you guys. It's, the contractor side. It's good that they can come in and meet all those needs at once. It's good for the state, because there's a significant cost reduction when you do that, when you can collaborate with other departments. So communicate with each other, and that's really, I would say, probably the key to what's made us successful.
Love to hear that. Buddy, thanks for joining us on an episode of GlideChat. Make sure you follow us on LinkedIn and subscribe to us on YouTube, and have a great day.